Malaysian 370, contact Ho Chi Minh 120.9. Good night.
Good night, Malaysian 370.
Breaking news tonight, a Malaysia Airlines flight with 239 people on board, including 4 Americans, has gone missing.
From the Hindu scripture, the Bhagavad Gita. Vishnu is trying to persuade the prince that he should do his duty, and to impress him takes on his multi-armed form and says, "Now I am become death, the destroyer of worlds."
Yo, what's up, chat? Let me break this down a little bit. There we go. How we doing tonight, everybody? Hope we're doing well. Hey, Aaron. Hey, Webeck. Hey, KGO YouTube. Hey, Billy. Hey, Corey. Hey, Randy. Hey, PJ. Okay, we got some spice tonight. Sorry I wasn't streaming yesterday. Was just tired working on stuff. Hey, Memory Hole. How's it going, man? So what are our topics tonight? We got some spicy stuff tonight. First of all, we're going to show really the UFO community being as classy as they've ever been. And then we're going to break out into, you heard it right, Jonas DMs tonight, folks. Jonas de Oreo DMs. So I wasn't going to say anything, but people started sending me messages from the Debunker Discord saying that he's like threatening, talking about legal action. So I decided that, okay, well, in case of transparency, since he wants to put it out there, we'll go ahead and we'll show all the DMs. We'll show his threatening DMs to us if that's what he wants. I no problem with it. And then we'll talk a little bit about what the legal case might be. I think that's really exciting. I think everybody wants to know. And then we will dig into a new unification theory that we found. There's a new unification theory found by JK Philly Fan. We found a patent out there. Pretty good. So before we begin, cheers, everybody. Cheers. Okay, I hope you guys are ready on the spice. Yeah, the UFO hate group. I didn't even really like to use that terminology, but wow, they really are a UFO hate group. There's really no denying it. So I think it's not super appropriate to make memes about people equating them to serial killers and cannibals, is it? Apparently it is. I don't know. So, one of the Cosmic Dahlia here. Cosmic Dahlia, I guess, is one of the hate group members. She's the wife of UAP Mike. And recently the drama was that she was feeling unfulfilled in her marriage, and she was sending DMs supposedly to other men, including talking about how hot Lou Elizondo was. And then UAP Mike got in a tiff with Keemstar about it, because Keemstar was basically talking about how UAP's Mike's wife was talking about how hot other dudes are. And so I don't know. It seems like there might be a little bit of trouble at home. So for some reason, she seems very upset at me because now she's apparently making Jeffrey Dahmer memes. Ooh, pretty cringe. I don't know. If the point here is to show how stable the UFO community is, missed the mark on that one. So, yeah, I don't know. I decided that we'll give her the attention that she's obviously seeking here from me. I mean, I guess she's feeling unfulfilled at home, so she's looking for other men to fill the void, presumably. That's just me speculating. I don't know for sure, of course. Okay. Now, let's move on. So, let's move on to the DMs. So, people started sending me these messages here from, I guess this is Jonas. I think it's kind of funny. He's got a snake as a profile picture, huh? And there's a Glenn Greenwald versus Destiny debate. Oh, that sounds pretty good. I think J6 has been beaten to death, folks. I think it's been beaten to death. He needs to look into what making false statements about Canon and their employees implicates. I have another meeting with my attorney next week. If you guys want to find out more evidence, please let me know via DM. So apparently he's, I guess in the debunker Discord trying to get legal advice on what he can do or whatever. I don't know. Yeah, these are not the Jonas DMs. Apparently, these were sent to me from the debunker Discord. You know, the nut job Discord, as we call it, the one that committed felony fraud against us. So hopefully Jonas is not accomplice to any of the felony fraud that was committed against me, but that's where it came from. So interesting. First person here is Tony Adams from Twitter, the person who created or basically copied the satellite video and pretended like he made an original, which he didn't. And he's actually offering to give Jonas money here in this thing. So honestly, Tony, go for it, man. You should give him all your money, you know? Legal fees would only be needed if it goes to court. I've already paid for whatever crap I had to put together with the lawyer. Oh, man. Money well spent, I'm sure. Can't sue for defamation unless you're Jonas. Lucky me, then. Oh, so this is Jonas. Okay. Everything AF posts is already being documented, but I would need to litigate in the United States, and I really have better things to do, to be honest. Because it's all just really silly, despite the very real libel. So what is the definition of libel, chat? What do you guys think the definition of libel is? Oops. This is Japan law. Let's look at what libel means. Publishing a false statement that is damaging to a person's reputation. Well, I think that I'm not a lawyer, but an affirmative defense against libel would be the truth. And I've never posted anything untrue about Jonas, so I don't know what he would have a problem with in terms of that. And also, you would need to litigate in the United States, so I'm not sure if he's not planning on litigating in the United States. It seems like Jonas went to the school of Redditors for law. Maybe he went to legal advice subreddit and found the advice there, but I'm not really sure. He seems kind of like an idiot. Just from my interactions with him and from what I've read about the posts here, he seems kind of like a moron. And then I guess, so now he's actually brigading against other accounts, trying to get them to report other people's accounts, which this is definitely a breach of Reddit policies, but we don't really give a shit about Reddit. Yeah, it is teenager stuff, but it gets better. So let's take a look at the Jonas DMs. So let's see if I ever defame Jonas or, let's just see the post. So this actually goes back to December 9th when Jonas made the debunk video, which I had warned him not to make. I warned Jonas not to make the video because it would open him up to scrutiny that he didn't need to do. There was no reason for him to make a debunk video whatsoever. I mean, he got an anonymous email, and within 1 hour, he was making a debunk video. I need to retreat from this. It's getting to be a bit too much for me. Hope you can understand. Well, I don't think if you're trying to retreat from something, you probably shouldn't make a debunk video about it, especially when you have no understanding of the case whatsoever and you are trying to disconnect yourself from it. That's not really the way that you disconnect from something. That's the way you insert yourself into something. And I tried to tell him this, but he didn't want to listen. So I said, sorry, man. Sorry you're getting harassment DMs and emails. I've told people not to bother you and that you're not nefarious at all. And I don't mean this to be rude, but that's why I told you to be cautious. If I were you, I'd delete your YouTube video. It's being used to debunk videos in your name. And whether or not you know it, you're being used for this purpose. Let the other people be the ones to debunk it, and then you can separate yourself from it. That seems reasonable, right? I hope Jonas is recording this, and he can send it to his lawyers. I hope his lawyers watch this video that I'm making right now, so that they can know that they're just getting free money from him. Let's keep going. You're right. Thanks for the kind words. I'll leave the video up for now, since I'm not sure how people would interpret that. But I think about it some more. I hope you get to the bottom of it. So he said I'm right. And then he decided of his own accord that he's going to keep the video up anyway and keep himself open to the same level of scrutiny that he's been getting, right? Which, I mean, we're dealing with a pretty hot topic here. This is 239 people that disappeared and nobody ever found the plane, right? Pretty wild. So I said, just to be honest, I think this movie is going to cause more controversy. That's why if you wanted to be disconnected, you should delete the video. Otherwise, it looks like you're afraid of the truth revealing you. People are digging into your history hard right now, and the timestamps of your pictures and questioning how you took these pictures from the airplane windows on both sides of it is pretty hard. I know because they're messaging me. And look, this is December 9th still, so this is a month ago. So I never even reported on like any of this stuff. And a lot of people are skeptical of how you were already making a debunk video within a few hours of being informed about this. Turns out, based on his own accounting, it was less than an hour. But anyway, like I said, I won't throw any shade your way because I truly believe you're an honest dude and I don't want the blowback from this. So then I sent another message later that day, a few hours later. Hey man, I'm going to have to make a post about how weird it is that you're deleting your video. You're not deleting your video while you not accepting a $10,000 reward where all you had to do is sign a statement saying you're not making anything up. It seems dishonest that your video post has nearly 1 million views and you made that knowing nothing about the case while admitting to me that you knew the corridor crew. All factual statements, right? All factual. These are things that all are true. If you want this to go the way, the easiest thing would be to delete the video. Otherwise, it looks like you have dishonest intent. I have to be honest. Why would you make a video matching the clouds like that at all? I certainly wouldn't be doing that after receiving an anonymous email like you did. That's the last thing I would be on my mind is getting directly involved. And then I sent another follow-up the next day. I've got experts in my DMs analyzing the pictures saying there's unusual anomalies regarding the light and other aspects in one or more of your pictures. I'm going to be making a post in the morning coming out claiming you're making fraudulent claims in your YouTube video. I don't remember if I did do that or not. And this is something that I think I copied here from somebody else's message that they sent me. Bottom line is that these two pictures numbered 1842 and 1843, which show cloud patterns from the MH370 video, are not from the set by Jonas, but somehow Jonas is attempting to fabricate the evidence. This is what someone has sent me. So then we find out that the pictures don't exist before 2016, that they're not on the Wayback Machine before that the textures.com person is a troll, that everybody involved, including the person that supposedly found these pictures, knows the corridor crew and was slighted by me. We looked in the torrents and we didn't find them, and that was at Jonas's request. And we looked at multiple torrents and didn't find the images anywhere in there. So let's fast forward a day. And I said, I'm not entirely sure what's going on. It stinks. And then I make my whole post about this person who says right away that they did this because, crap. Well, that's awkward. The person who found the images admitted that they had an axe to grind with me for dunking on their favorite YouTuber, the Corridor Crew. One of the only questions I asked Jonas was if he knew of them, which he admitted that he has followed the Corridor Crew for 15 years. But he claims he hadn't seen their videos about me. I asked him to delete his video after refusing the $10,000 bounty, which was contingent upon him signing an affidavit saying he wasn't lying or making anything up. I said I'd follow up in the morning with more details. Now, hold a sec. I'm going to switch back. I just want to make sure I don't reveal any other DMs. That's why I'm trying to hide this side here. Okay, and don't worry, guys. We're not going to spend too much time on this. Just the first 20 minutes or so. Hey, everybody. Okay, and now, so this fast forward to... This date stamp isn't correct here because this was yesterday, but it says December 13th. This is not correct. So, this, I don't know why this date stamp is wrong, but I got this last night. This message right here. Hey, Ashton, just letting you know my lawyer is currently setting up a libel case against you. I'm not going forward with any charges at the moment. Let's face it, it's inconvenient for everyone, but I want to let you know that we're documenting everything you publish about me online and are currently looking into our options for a defamation charge. I'll be in touch with the other relevant parties such as Textures.com legal team and our partners in the U.S. as well. I'd appreciate it if you take down any posts about me. I won't respond to that publicly, and I'm happy to pretend it never happened and let you run your business. I'm not sure what that means exactly. Anyway, just thought I'd let you know, Jonas. So I'm going to go ahead and just let Jonas know, and his lawyers if they're watching, I'm not taking down anything because everything I posted is factual. I have never defamed or libeled Jonas in any way, shape, or form, and I don't really appreciate legal threats. Usually, if you have some type of legal issue, you can just go ahead and send it on over to them, right? But you know what? If you want to press charges, you want to go and waste your money, feel free. I'd be happy to engage my lawyers and make sure that you pay for everything. Now, may I have your contact information or that of your legal counsel? I'm proceeding with a defamation case against you. No, I don't think you are, Jonas, but you're free to go ahead and try if you want. No one's going to stop you. It's a free country. I also want to inform you that I have filed a comprehensive police report in the Tokyo Metropolitan Police Department detailing the false and damaging statements attributed to you. Ooh, what a badass guy. Wow. A comprehensive police report with the Tokyo Metropolitan Police Department? Ooh, this is very scary. I wonder what those defamation posts are, considering I've never said anything factually incorrect about Jonas. The only other posts I made were the videos that were literally of Jonas doing video effects editing. And I remember, chat, I posted them in full context. As well, those streams are still available so you guys can watch. The nice thing about being fully transparent about everything you do is that you don't generally have to worry about people distorting the truth about you. Yeah, it turns out Jonas might be a little bit of a nutcase and a little bit of a baby. For the record, I'm not in Tokyo and I'm not in Japan, so I don't know. Good luck with that, I guess. Now, I said I didn't say anything false about you. Good luck. For the record, when people sue, they don't threaten people about it. Laugh my ass off. You're such a loser. I also recorded our call, so good luck, man. I'm proceeding in Japan, not the U.S. Statements don't need to be false to be convicted of defamation here. No subpoena needed either. Just making sure you're in the system here. Okay, well, first of all, if you're already going to admit that the statements don't need to be true or don't need to be false, then you already kind of destroyed your whole case right there by admitting that, right? I'm saying that my affirmative defense is that I've only posted truthful things. So, secondly, I'm, again, not in Japan, so I don't know. Good luck, Jonas, and your lawyers. Glad you're spending off the money. So my response, fuck off, Jonas, you absolute loser. No need to get angry. You're such a Redditor, and so is your understanding of the law. Lol, okay. It's pretty clear that Jonas, thinks that the law works in some other way than he apparently does. Kid, I told you to think twice before you made your debunk video, and you didn't listen. You didn't listen when I told you the clouds are moving and evolving, and when I told you to listen to the evidence. Everything you did to yourself. The people calling you a fraud are in no way connected to me. You're just a loser, and you always will be. This is gold, thanks. I could post our entire interaction for the lulz and the clicks, but I'm not going to because you just want clout. Sorry, one more thing. If and when the U.S. declassifies these videos, I'm going to send all the families of the victims after you and have them take everything you own, since you decided to make a debunk video on the fate of their loved ones. So Jonas, I hope you show that to your lawyer. I really do, because now you are committed to these videos being fake. Because if they're not, boy, your lawyer is going to be a busy, busy person. So, anyway, like I said, I wish you the best, Jonas. I really do. I don't know, man. Whatever you want to do doesn't really matter to me at all. I'm certainly not afraid. Okay, chat. How was that? What are our thoughts? So, do we think that I'm going to get sued by Jonas? What do you guys think? You think that the Tokyo Police Department is going to come after me like the Dark Knight? There's no boundaries here. Pretty wild stuff, huh? You know, the funniest part is that I wasn't even saying anything about him. I didn't even bring his name up in the podcasts, right? Never even been mentioning him. Kind of wild that he's just trying to... Yeah, it does seem kind of designed to distract me in general, but it's not going to work. Not sure why he's so upset at all, to be honest with you. Yeah, I don't think that the Tokyo police department's going to be coming for me. Oh, just want to make sure you're in the system, whatever that means, man. Not too afraid about it. Yeah, we knew he was a Redditor in the video call between me and Kim, right? You can tell immediately. This proves it, right? Jonas is 100% a Redditor. Like, Reddit brain to the maximum, right? Just completely delusional. Dude is just completely delusional. Huge nerd. Huge loser. And again, I'm just posting, this is my opinion on Jonas based on the interactions and him threatening me with legal action with no basis whatsoever. That was, again, everything he's done has been 100% his own choice and his own doing. No one has forced him into any of this. He inserted himself into the situation and opened himself up to that level of scrutiny. Just wild stuff, right? Again, I'm just going to give, and again, I'm always truthful to people, just like I was truthful to Julian Dory when I told Julian that he should delete his podcast video with us because it makes him look bad. The best thing Jonas could do would be to delete his debunk video. That'd be the best thing that he could do. If you want to separate yourself and stop opening yourself up to the level of scrutiny, delete your YouTube video. And just come out and say you don't want anything to do with the case, right? The guy did 2 Ask Me Anythings on Reddit. Two different. I've done 0 Ask Me Anythings, just 0. Jonas did 2 Ask Me Anythings on Reddit, and he thinks that somehow he's above scrutiny on social media. Pretty wild, man. Pretty wild. People in the chat are saying Tokyo Grift. Tokyo Grift. No, I don't know if he's a grifter. I just think that, I don't know. I think he's just delusional. A little bit delusional. Redditors think that you can just sue anybody for anything. It's pretty hilarious. Maybe all the other Redditors in the Debunker Scam Discord will give the money that they fraudulently took from me. Here's some advice for you, Jonas, as well, is if you are in touch with the person who scammed me out of $3,000, if they help you in any way, shape, or form, then that makes you an accessory to a felony. And that's in the United States here. So I hope you're not, because, yeah, if you take money from them, and it turns out it's from one of the people who scammed me out of $3,000, then that would make you an accessory to a felony, which is real prison time. So I would not do that. Okay, yeah, so the quick recap, guys. Super quick recap. Got a threatening legal message from Jonas out of the blue, out of nowhere. There was no basis for it whatsoever. Just seemed like classic, like Redditor legal advice kind of nonsense. So just kind of told him to F off. Then people, and I wasn't going to post about it or make any things about it. That happened yesterday. And then people started sending me messages from the Debunker Discord where Jonas is like openly talking about it. So I decided, okay, well, if he's going to openly talk about it, then I'm going to go ahead and video about it. I mean, I thought he wanted to be private, but if he's sitting there like trying to solicit money from the other Redditors and all the other stuff, then, okay, we'll dunk on him a little bit over it, rib him a little bit. So. The problem is that he has now disgraced his family. No, I don't know about that, man. It's a little bit much, guys. I mean, I was leaving him alone. I wasn't doing anything to him. But he keeps opening himself up to undue scrutiny that isn't really necessary at all. So, the facts are that he turned down $10,000 that Kim.com was going to give him. So, Kim.com was going to give Jonas $10,000 just for coming out with the pictures. And all he had to do was sign an affidavit saying that nothing that he was saying was false. That's all he had to do. I would have taken that money 100%. 100%. He even said when I recorded our 3-way call that he would sign it. And then the next day he came out and said he wouldn't. Pretty weird. And then he tried to backtrack after we called him out and posted the video of him claiming he would sign it. And then he tried to backtrack and say, oh, no, I was just waiting for my lawyer to review it. And then he said he was going to give the money to the families of the victims, which also doesn't make any sense because there's no way to do that. So he was definitely saving face at the end, at least in my opinion. But, you know, ultimately it's up to him. I mean, he did 2 AMAs about it, Ask Me Anything, so you can take a look at his messages there. Okay, have we recapped everything? Are we good on all that? Can we move on to the next thing? Okay. Hey, alien girl. You guys ready to move on to some more exciting stuff? Science and investigation? But yeah, that's the drama. That's the drama we've got going on. And apparently people are really mad at me. People are really mad at me. You wouldn't think trying to find the truth about a missing plane where there's no answer for what happened to 239 people would elicit such a hostile and angry response from people. For some reason it does. Okay. So, Arwin... Jonas is definitely not going to hit me with a defamation case. He's welcome to try if he wants, but he's not going to. His lawyer will inform him, I'm sure. Teach him how the law works. But I mean, I just gave him the same advice. Just once again, I gave him the same exact advice that I gave him a month and a half ago or 2 months ago, which was just delete your debunk video that you should have never made to begin with. There was no reason to make it whatsoever. Now he's revealed himself to be a Redditor, so we know we can't trust him, unfortunately. Oh, yeah, Kathy, no problem. So this image right here, Arwin from the MH370x investigative team, she has been on fire. Arwin Evanstar, pretty sure that's not her real name, so we're fine with that. She's been trying to investigate all the names of the passengers. Oh, wait, I'm not even showing it. Hold on. There we go. Okay. And hey, everybody else who jumped in. Did the serial number on the parts, on the aircraft parts match? They did not use a unique serial number. They used a part number on there. Silly wabbit. So... could be from MH370, could be from the duplicate copy of the plane that was purchased by GA Telesis. I just think that it's interesting that the media doesn't report on it accurately in terms of the part numbers. It's odd that they are kind of lying to people about that. I don't know where you can find a debunk video. I don't know. On Twitter somewhere or social media somewhere. Okay. So Arvin Evanstar has been looking into the names of all the Freescale Semiconductor employees, and here's the rub. We can only find 16 of them. We can't find the last 4. Like, they're just not on the manifest. Like, there's either something wrong with the manifest or, like, we don't know. There's just inconsistency. So she has found 16 of them. And 16 of them, look at where they're all sitting. All the yellow dots are the Freescale Semiconductor employees. They're all sitting next to each other. Kind of weird. They're all sitting next to each other. 20 employees. 20 is too many from one company. Why are they, if they're all sitting next to each other like this, presumably they're all traveling together, right? Pretty bizarre. Yeah, the media is important or busy with important stuff like Taylor Swift. Yeah, exactly. You got it. So I'm going to make a post about this, but I kind of want a little bit more meat and potatoes to go along with it. I'm not sure. I don't know about the triangle pattern. That's a little bit much, James. I don't know about the triangle pattern, but okay, so they work for the same employer. Does that mean that they are all traveling together? So here's the thing. I travel with other people, and I don't ever book my flights with the same as them. Uh-oh, we got a Redditor mad in the chat. We got a Redditor who's mad in the chat. Boy, they didn't like that. Bye, Pete. Boy, they're getting mad. So the only way that these seats would be next to each other is if they were booked together. Right? If they were booked together by their company at the same time. Even for my company, when I travel, we don't all book our flights together. They're all booked independently. So the fact that everybody's sitting together is very strange. especially because the company should have a policy that they don't let this many people be on the same flight. Exactly, Dan. The employer booked them all at the same time, which they shouldn't have, right? Because you would have hit the policy that you have too many people on board the plane. If the employer was booking them all at the same time, they should have said, 20 people all at once? That's too many. What if the plane goes missing? Right? Pretty bizarre. Yeah, even when people travel, yeah, not really ex-milieu. Even in 2014, you generally do not pick your seats. You don't work it out and pick your seats together. That's generally not how that works. No, it's definitely strange, guys. Guys, I traveled for 7 years straight with my company, and I would go to the same places with coworkers. You don't sit next to your coworkers. In fact, usually when you get on the plane, you want to be away from your coworkers so that you can just hang out by yourself. It's pretty unusual, actually, for people to want to be sitting next to their coworkers. And not in this case, it's not just a couple of them. They're all sitting next to each other. This only happens when the tickets are booked together, right? And once again, if they were booked together, the company's flag should have gone off and said, "Oh, we have more than 4 people on board this. We can't let any more people get on it." Now, again, I'm speaking from experience. Over 7 years straight traveling, and I've been still traveling occasionally since in the last 12 years or so. So I have a lot of experience. I've probably flown more than most people ever will in their entire lives. I've flown millions of miles. I'm like George Clooney in the Up in the Air movie, like a lot. And I'm not saying that to brag. I don't like flying. I'm just saying that's what it is. Pete, if you're still there, Real Stories Creepy likes your Costa Rica videos. Just want to let you know. So you may think you want that, but I'm guessing the people that are saying they'd like to sit next to their coworkers probably haven't flown very much. Now, if you're defectors, that's what I'm thinking about. Now I'm getting a little conspiratorial here. But if you're defectors, then it would make sense to stick together. Also, and this is getting very out into the weeds, but if you're expecting something to happen, then it would make sense for you to want to be next to each other and grouped up. Now, these people aren't necessarily grouped up with these people, but this is weird how many people are sitting right next to each other over here on the right side. Like, this indicates that it's very odd. They're all in just one big group. This is like, if you were to get on, it's like a hockey team, like a kid's hockey team. This is like what you'd expect them to be sitting. Not if you're like just a bunch of Freescale semiconductor employees. These are very important people. You definitely wouldn't want all these people on the same plane. Very weird. Side note, yes, to ex-Little Matt's, or Little Matt, explorers say they think they found Amelia Earhart's long-lost plane, but they can't find MH370. Pretty weird, right? The reality is they're never going to find MH370. And the reason why they're never going to find it is because if they found the black box, it would expose the lie. So even if they flew the plane to Diego Garcia, they're not going to go crash the plane into the South Indian Ocean. And the reason why is because you would find the black box and you would show that the whole narrative is a lie. They literally cannot find the plane. If they ever were to find the plane, it will expose the truth. Yeah. Yes, Alex says, my father is an electrical engineer, and he thought it was a red flag that many from one company are on one plane. He's traveled to China many times, and he says it basically never happens. And if you ask your dad, I'm sure he'll also say he doesn't sit next to all his coworkers either when he's traveling, especially not on a long flight where he wants to be going and sleeping and getting some peace and not talking to his coworkers. Where was Philip Wood sitting? Good question, Antonio. We may ask Arwen to look into that. Just using Ashton Forbes' name in UFO chats. This UFO research has to change. I don't know what that means, Ron Shaw. But yes, I would also say before we digress to the next thing, there is some pretty horrible people out there that are really, really angry at us. I'm not really sure why, on how I threaten their existence so much. But the reality is we're not going away. We're never going away, no matter what. That's just what it is. We're here now. What percentage of their workforce? It's not a matter of the percentage of the workforce, but these were important people in general. I think they were a pretty big company, thousands of employees, I think. But yeah, usually it's only like 2 to 4 people per company on the same plane is usually what the policies are. For any company where you have intellectual property that you can't afford to lose. Even my company where it's not even really that much intellectual property. Yeah, and so Weathery even says, I have 5 kids. Anytime my wife and I want to fly together, we have to each book a set because they only allow us to get 6 tickets together. Yeah, and apparently there's limits on that as well. The roles, you can look up, you can Google it, guys, but they were engineers, and there are a bunch of articles talking about how important they were to the company. It's funny because I did a podcast with a podcaster, and the person tried to claim that, oh, well, they're not the CXOs, so they don't matter, which is just stupid because the CXOs are not the most important people at a company at all. That just goes like, that's a Redditor brain, right? With people that think that like, oh, the CXOs, the CEO, CFO are the most important people. No. That's not how the companies really work, man. The most important people are usually like the middle management people who make the day-to-days operate. The ones that'll sit there and work at their job for 20 years and not expect any type of moving up the ladder. Those are generally the most important people that have the institutional knowledge on how things work. Okay. So next subject is going to be, we're going to dig into some science, okay? So there's another unification theory that was found, but I wanted to post this because I just think it's really cool. And I think that Arwen, is it Arwen, or am I saying her name wrong? Arwen's been doing some amazing research for us in our Discord, looking up all the passengers' names and where they're sitting. I may ask her if she can figure out where Philip Wood is sitting. Oh, we have 17 out of 19 now. Hold on, chat. Oh, look, and another one right here. They're all next to each other, every single one. How much you want to bet the other ones are like sitting next to these people? How much you want to bet this is where they're sitting? Like next to these ones right here. Philip Wood is 11C. Wow, right here. So he got a bulkhead seat. Interesting. I think this is bulkhead, right? Because this is the bathrooms right here probably. Yeah. Man, my dog is going at that bone back there. So Philip Wood's right here too. Man, it's pretty wild, huh? Yeah, curious if they're on the same project. Yeah, I mean they're all going to China to supposedly upgrade the manufacturing plants there, which seems like a weird cover. Kind of bizarre. I think that patent thing is fake, Ryan. I think that patent thing's a red herring. I'm not sure that's really real. In fact, there was something that I read on one of the 4chan posts that mentioned somebody who was claiming to have inside information. And they argued that the intelligence communities know how conspiracy theory people think. So what they do is they throw out fake conspiracy theories that will get people to latch on to them so that they don't look for the real stuff. Kind of interesting thought. I don't know if it's true or not, but it makes sense. Yeah, the yellow ones are the engineers. Those are the Freescale engineers. 17 out of 20 we've found so far. I think it's very suspicious that they're all sitting next to each other. That is very odd. Very, very odd. But we'll find more. I want to get a little more meat and potatoes on this before we make a post about it, but I'm thinking about making a post like tomorrow about it. Yeah, it's just really weird. Really weird they're all sitting next to each other. Okay, let's see what else we got. Science. Okay, here we go. Okay, next one is JK Philly fan. Method of gravity distortion and time displacement. Yeah, no, it is odd, guys. It's this isn't really a debate. It's odd for 20 people from the same company to be sitting next to each other. It is odd, 100%. We already established it. If you didn't listen to the arguments, go back like 5-10 minutes so you can listen to them. But yes, it's not normal for 20 people from the same company to be sitting next to each other. If you don't know that, then you probably haven't traveled for work before. But yeah, it is odd. You don't sit next to it unless it's a sports team or something like that. All of them sitting together and being on the same plane is very unusual. Very unusual. And again, I speak from somebody who has traveled for my work for many, many, many years and probably have more miles and flight miles than maybe even all of chat combined, but like a lot. I have a lot. I've flown more than most people will in their entire lifetimes. Now, this is a really interesting one. We're going to go through this patent. I'm going to read it out to you guys because I think that we found another unification theory. Now, it's pretty similar to the ones we've had before. So if you're keeping track at home, we have already had Salvatore Pais argue for a unification theory, the Pais force, right, which unifies the other forces together. And we also spoke with Roy D. Herbert as well. And Roy D. Herbert is dilation theory. Now, both of these theories, the Pais force and dilation theory, are both unification theories of quantum and macro. Pais would say that the super force is basically the equivalent of the Planck force, and it's a force where all the forces, I don't know if they converge is the right word, but a way to unify all the different forces. Roy D. Herbert would mention that the properties denote the behavior irrespective of scale, irrespective of size. So regardless of if you have a neutron star or an atom, you can have these things act the same way. Okay. Now, what I'm going to say here right away before we get into this is that I am 100% certain that the unification theory already exists, probably already been discovered multiple times out there, and we are not discovering anything new. What we are doing is we are revealing the truth. We're simply revealing the information that's already out there. One thing that we have been told before as well is that patents would get retracted, papers would get retracted, even though they're true. And this is one of the ways that they cover up the truth. So it's not unusual to me that this would be an abandoned patent. And, but that, somebody could have been forced to hide this information in general. Okay, let's get going. Abstract. A method for employing sinusoidal oscillations. Guys, sinusoidal oscillations, okay. You already had me interested in the beginning. Why? Because the MH370 videos are showing sinusoidal oscillations in them. We're seeing sinusoidal oscillations right in our videos. These patterns have been mapped that these orbs make right here. And they're perfect sinusoidal patterns. That means they're perfect wave functions. Right? While they're spinning around this, people were able to map these. And it's a perfect wave function. Perfect sinusoidal pattern. Okay? The orbs they're doing, it's a 120 degree 0-point sinusoidal pattern, sine waves. And it's circling the plane here as well. Hey, Sandy, welcome. So right in the first 5 words, we're already hitting a bingo. Okay, so a method for employing sinusoidal oscillations of electrical bombardment on the surface of one Kerr-type singularity in close proximity to a second Kerr-type singularity, in such a method to take advantage of the Lenz-Thirring effect, to simulate the effect of 2-point masses on nearly radial orbits in a 2+1 dimensional anti-de Sitter space, resulting in creation of circular time-like geodesics conforming to the Van Stockum under the Van den Broek modification of the Alcubierre geometry, permitting topology change from one space-like boundary to the other in accordance with Giroc's theorem, which results in a method for the formulation of G mu naught, I think is what that stands for, or I'm not sure, over model type geodesically complete spacetime envelopes complete with closed time-like curves. Okay, so that's a lot of words. Yeah, can we look up like 12 of those words? Yeah, pretty much. I think we're going to. It's a good call. Let's look up a few of these words. It's going to be kind of important that we try to understand what the heck we're talking about here. Let's get Grok into play. So let's start with Kerr-type singularity. What is a Kerr-type singularity? Alt Joey over here knows it all. He understood all the words. A type of space-time singularity that can occur in the center of a rotating black hole. Unlike the Schwarzschild singularity, the Kerr singularity is ring-shaped. Ring-shaped, guys. Interesting. Unique geometry arises from the fact that a rotating black hole drags space-time around it, causing the singularity to flatten into a ring. The existence of such a singularity has been the topic of a debate among physicists as it challenges the notion of singularities as defined by the singularity theorems. Wow, there's more than one kind of singularity? Hello. Is that what we're looking at here? So one thing that's interesting right about that, right, is when the plane gets here, the orbs change, and now they become a ring formation. Remember I've been talking about the ring formation? Is it making a ring-shaped singularity around the plane here? Huh. And then, is this a ring-shaped singularity right here? Is that what we're seeing here? Is a ring-shaped singularity? There's a couple different ways we can interpret that. The letters sent to me, I don't know, the more and more I think about the letters. Did that, by the way, that YouTube account go dark, guys? Has anyone been following that YouTube account? I haven't followed it in several days. Let's go look. Oh, is it gone? Is it gone? Dude, if that account is gone, how nuts would that be? Dude, what? It was called Real World Creepy, right? Wasn't it called Real World Creepy? Oh, no. Oh, it's still there. Oh, I subscribed to it, by the way, now. Yeah, nothing. There's been nothing. No new videos. So they make how many? 3 Miami fake videos, and then they send me a letter. And then they do some weird tunnel thing. And then they do the glitter. And then they do the Adam and Eve story. And then they just disappeared for 2 weeks. It just seems super weird to me, man. They were so active, pushing out 1 per day. So it doesn't make sense why they'd be doing this for money. It seems like the other videos were just a distraction to send me this video. That's my true opinion on this. The rest of these videos are kind of just, they're not even remotely the same quality as this video. Now, they're interesting. Some of these other 2 are pretty interesting, but like these other ones are forgettable. Pretty weird. Okay, so the Kerr singularity, let's look up some more words. The lens throwing effect. So the lens throwing effect, I think, is when the black hole is spinning and how it's going to distort space-time because of its spinning. Did he leave 2 passwords? I don't know, man. When I saw the password thing from Dan, I thought maybe it was a troll or something. But we broke into it right away within like an hour. Somebody used, I think, a brute force attack, and the password was just like truth or something like that. And it turned out it was something about using memes, meme warfare. It was very weird. Okay, lens stirring effect. Yeah, frame dragging. So phenomenon predicted by Einstein's theory of general relativity occurs when a massive rotating object, such as a black hole or star, drags the surrounding space-time along with its rotation. This causes the orientation of nearby objects to change over time and has been observed in such experiments as Gravity Probe B. It's an important concept in understanding the behavior of rotating objects. Yeah. Nah, Gravity Probe B, I think, is they just send a thing into outer space around the Earth, and they're trying to see if it gets time dilated or something like that. I want to look at more of these words. What is my dog? She's losing it. 2+1 anti-dimensional sitter space. Okay, let's see what else we got. 2 plus 1 dimensional anti-de Sitter space is a type of space-time that has two spatial dimensions and one time dimension. It is a solution to Einstein's field equations in 3 dimensions, with a negative cosmological constant. This space is often studied in the context of string theory and quantum gravity, as it provides a simplified model to explore ideas in these fields. The geometry of space is that of a hyperboloid and has constant negative curvature. Okay. I don't know what that means. It's interesting, though. Let's look up the this thing. What is martini? Shaken, not stirred. That's correct. Cheers. Okay. And if science bores you, which I hope it doesn't, then you can go back to the early part of the stream where we talked about drama. We had some spicy drama going on. And now we are digging into the science. We definitely need more memes, though. I may pull up some memes at the end. Okay. The Van Stockham. Okay, this is a lot of words, guys. Why is it's still going? Okay. Speculative idea for faster than light propulsion system. That's the Alcubierre warp drive. So the Van Stockham under the Van den Broek modification is a way to basically allow a bubble to be real. It's an attempt to make the Alcubierre warp drive more feasible by reducing the amount of negative energy required to create the bubble. Changing the shape of the bubble from a sphere to do a more elongated football-like shape. This change significantly reduces the amount of negative energy needed to create the bubble, making a concept more plausible from an energy standpoint. The von Stockham component of this modification refers to the solution of Einstein's field equations proposed by William Jacob von Stockham. Oh, why am I so tired? Describe a rotating cylinder of dense matter that could theoretically create closed space-time curves, which are paths in space-time that allow for time travel. In the context of the whatever modification, it's a solution to further optimize the shape of the warp bubble by incorporating the rotating cylinder concept. The overall energy requirements can be reduced even further, making the Alcubierre warp drive more feasible. Okay, so basically it's reducing the energy. I don't know, science makes me so sleepy. Okay. So basically we're talking about warp bubble here. Okay. And now why is this interesting? Because this is similar to the Dave Rossi research manuscript, paper, whatever you want to call it, that was out there. Okay, one sec, chat. Let me eat one of my olives and we'll keep going. Yeah, the drama was somebody threatened me to make a police report in Japan about me for hurting their feelings or something like that, for a situation where they 100% involved themselves with no reason whatsoever, and then pretended like they didn't want to be part of it. Pretty wild. Okay. Now, should we go with the claims first? I think the claims are already pretty consistent with what we already mentioned here. Okay, let's read the claims. A method for the generation of a pseudo 2+1 dimension anti-de Sitter space comprising of the steps of creating two Kerr-type positively charged rotating dilation singularities, including the steps of maintaining one of the singularities as an axis of rotation reference singularity, maintaining the other of the singularities as a target singularity, and subjecting the target singularity to a differential electron flow so as to simultaneously pass the differential electron flow above a photosphere of said target singularity in a direction of rotation, therefore, and contrary to the direction of rotation thereof, in order to release a directed flow of gravitons in a sinusoidal oscillation simulating a rotational effect of the target singularity around the axis of rotation provided by the reference singularity. Guys, when I'm listening to that, what I'm imagining in my head is the MH370 videos. Like, exactly. They're spinning around it, and what direction are they going to send it to? They're going to send it backwards or forwards in a perpendicular orientation based on the ring formation. That's how I read this. Now, I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong because I'm not a scientist, but that's how I interpret it. So when I'm seeing this here, I'm looking in my mind, I'm looking at this and the electron flow that they're creating here. And then what they're doing here is they're making this ring, right, around the plane, and it's going to go backwards or it's going to go forwards. Presumably backwards. But that this is somehow setting up the direction of travel here. And that, yeah, they're doing some kind of quantum dance, exactly, right? It's crazy that I'm sitting here actually saying that teleportation is possible, but we're reading the patents. A method of generating a force around a body. So now they're talking about literally generating the force around the body, comprising the steps of employing sinusoidal oscillations of electrical bombardment on the surface of one Kerr-type reference singularity in close proximity to a second Kerr-type singularity to take advantage of the lens-Thirring effect, wherein the electrical currents employed in the bombardment are passed simultaneously across the photosphere of said reference singularity in its direction of rotation and contrary to its direction of rotation to release a directed flow of gravitons in a sinusoidal oscillation simulating a rotational effect of the target singularity around the axis of rotation provided by the reference singularity. I mean, it sounds like there's two singularities. What they're saying is the wormholes, right? One mouth of the wormhole is over here, the other one's over here. In my mind, what I'm reading here is they're talking about having two entangled singularities, right? So if we look at now the thermal, they're talking about this. This is creating one of the singularities. And then it's moving to the other one. And it's like entanglement dance, basically, right? That's how I interpret it. So it's doing the rubber band, right? Stretching it out. Poof. And that thing goes flying over here. Pretty bizarre. Hey, S3. Hey, everybody else. Pretty crazy, right? How we're actually starting to understand the science. Creating time-like curves in a compact, time-oriented manifold. I think this is supposed to be G mu naught, but that it's like they don't have the special characters. Over a model-type geodesically complete space-time envelope under the Van den Broek modification of the Alcubierre geometry, resulting in the creation of time-like curves in a compact, time-oriented manifold, permitting topology change from one space-time boundary to the other in coordinates with Giroux theorem. I guess we have another one we have to read here. Giroux theorem. Yeah, exactly. Old Town Road. See, you get it. Like their motion is phasing the entanglement. Yes, I think pretty much. Sounds like it's talking about creating a wormhole. Umlaut. Yeah, umlaut. Gaussian theorem is a result in general relativity that provides a topological characterization of globally hyperbolic spacetimes. So I think that's what they're talking about. Tunnel. It was first proved by Robert Garroch in 1970. The theorem states that a spacetime is globally hyperbolic if and only if it can be foilated by a family of Cauchy surfaces, which are spacetime hypersurfaces that intersect every causal curve exactly once. Yeah, so I think that's pretty much what it's saying. Is like if you were to take spacetime and bend it like a piece of paper, or like this napkin right here, right? You bend it, and now you can poke a hole through it. Huh. Very interesting. Okay, now there's a lot more to read through here. Why has it got Gaussian theorem everywhere highlighted like this? Oh, there. Okay, here we go. Okay, field of the invention. The present invention relates to the use of technical time displacement devices which operate by the modification of gravitational fields. These drive systems do not depend on the emission of matter to create thrust to take advantage of the time dilation, but rather create a change in the curvature of spacetime in accordance with general relativity. This allows travel across topologies by warping spacetime to produce topology change from one space-like boundary to the other in accordance with Jonas' theorem. I mean, we're talking about a wormhole here, right? We're talking about warping spacetime itself. Yeah, that napkin was used, sorry. We're talking about warping spacetime itself to create a wormhole, pretty much, right? So, yeah, we're talking about some pretty advanced physics here, but this does not break the laws of physics. This bends them, literally and metaphorically. The concept of gravity should be examined in the light of quantum gravity and in turn as a component of quantum physics itself. The fundamental minimal quantum of energy in quantum physics is Planck's constant, superforce. The Planck force is the superforce. Thus, in accordance with this equivalence of formula, E equals mc squared, that's the big formula that for some reason Redditors struggle with. The fundamental minimum quantity of mass can therefore be derived. Taking this minimal mass, it is possible to show that the formulation of all matter, the forces of nature, and indeed space-time itself derive from this single quintessential quantity. So basically they're saying there's going to be a unification. Thus, the number of quintessences in the system is equal to NQ equals M over MQ. Then the total energy of the space system is more logically given by the energy of a single quintessence directly multiplied by the number of quintessences, such that energy equals HNQ equals MC squared. Hey, Arwen, I don't know where you're at. There's Arwen. Nice. We'll make Arwen a moderator. Furthermore, this minimal mass term quintessence can form the basis of the existence of a quantum gravitational field in the form of space-time lattice, from which quantum gravity may be derived from the first principles. Furthermore, the conglomeration of these quintessences also accounts for the formulation of the elementary particles and the forces acting between them, as in superstring theory. This concept explains the formation of matter and the forces of nature on a quantum mechanical basis and directly explains the existence of wave-particle duality. Thus, as n equals m over mq, the frequency of light and matter f is determined directly from the number of constituent quintessences. This leads automatically to the fundamental equation derived from F equals NQ equals E over H, where NQ is the number of quintessences, which leads directly to the frequency of both light and matter. This in turn leads directly to a universal wave equation for matter. Matter is a wave, everybody. Where B is the relative directional velocity, as the momentum, complicated equation, then this equation also gives a standard de Broglie-like wave equation, in agreement with current theory and experiments. So, what was the key letter? The key thing right there. It was the fundamental. Oh, directly explains the existence of particle-wave duality. Very interesting. Yeah, energy, space, and matter. I don't know if space is the same as matter, but matter and energy are the same for sure. Okay. Using a universal wave equation, the standard equation for special relativity, I'm not going to read all the equation, derives from first principles. I'll post this in the chat, though, for you guys. Okay. Also, from these observations, a modified Dirac equations, wave equation may be derived. The results of which have been recently verified by a paper in which orbitals of electrons were experimentally directly visualized. Moreover, a fundamental equation for general relativity can be formulated where G is the gravitational constant and RQ is the given radius of a quintessence. such that the universal wave equation is in a direct agreement with general relativity. Thus, special and general relativity and quantum mechanics can be unified. Ba-boom! So basically, just mathematically there, not only did they explain particle wave duality, but then they also went ahead and took general relativity and they unified it with quantum mechanics. That's pretty big. That's what we call unification theory, folks. I understood like 60% of that, getting better. I don't know how much you guys understood. And yes, like the double slit experiment for Evan. So, double slit experiment is where we have proven that particle wave duality exists, non-locality, quantum entanglement, faster than light travel. That's how that's been proven. So, Sebastian is liking it. All caps, this is real. Yeah, this is pretty wild, this paper here. Now, really quick side note, big question. Steven says, question, why do Redditors smell so bad? I would say from, just if we have a theory of why Redditors smell so bad, probably because they don't shower enough. Probably because their hygiene is really bad. That's what I would imagine. Probably because they eat too many Hot Pockets. Anyway, this paper is from 2004. 2004. This is a long time ago. Long time ago. 5%, 2%, 3%. Yeah. The big ones, the big words that you want to make sure you understand are unification theory and that this can explain particle wave duality. If you understand that this is a unification theory, we take general relativity as the big stuff like stars. Quantum mechanics is the tiny, tiny little stuff, right? Particle wave duality is why we have quantum mechanics, why we have quantum entanglement, and why we have non-locality. Okay. From here, it is possible to proceed in a number of ways. The geometric structure of the electron and forces of nature may be derived from first principles, and in turn, structures of quarks, including the top and the bottom, otherwise known as truth and beauty, can be seen. Okay. Moreover, the presence of space-time lattice refers to the understanding of quantum EPR effects. EPR, remember ER equals EPR. EPR has to do with quantum mechanics. By allowing a theoretical flow of energy through a space-time lattice, it can be shown that energy is not bound by space-time, and energy equals mass, remember? So if energy is not bound by space-time, then we've gone ahead and we've basically shown that entanglement is possible, thus locally accounting for phenomena such as entanglement and quantum tunneling, like I just said. Quintessence can also be used to explain logically the inner physics of a black hole, the missing mass of a galaxy, the continuing expansion of the universe, Gluth's inflationary theory, and the Big Bang. Hence, it is now possible to understand the universe, including space-time matter, and the forces of nature from the radius mass vibration of a single quantity, quintessence. So basically, what's the big one here? The missing mass of the galaxy. You know what they're talking about right here? Dark matter. They're saying that this can explain dark matter. And the continuing expansion of the universe is dark energy. So they're saying that this theory can explain dark matter and dark energy. So dark matter doesn't exist. Dark matter is just a property that we don't fully understand. I'm going to start making a paper about this here, I think. It's because we're going to make a post about this. So what else did I want to steal? I want to steal blah, blah, blah. Where's the thing about the unification? Thus, special relativity. Take this. Bunch of math. And then where's the thing about particle wave duality? Where am I missing it, chat? Could have sworn it was right up here somewhere. It's in here somewhere, right? Here it is. Okay. So this is, this is huge, guys. Really, really, really huge, okay? With this understanding of space-time, matter, and the forces of nature, in particular gravity, it is possible to demonstrate that a modification of gravity fields and in turn the warping of space-time can be technically readily available. Let's write that down. Welcome to quantum gravity, folks. Pretty good. Cha-ching. Nah, there is no such thing as dark matter. Dark matter is just how we explain why galaxies spin as fast or do not go flying, why they're sticky. So how do we know dark matter is, what do we think of as dark matter? So if I were to take this rubber band here, and this is our galaxy, and in the middle we have a black hole. If we were to look at this galaxy, we would imagine that the stars in the middle are going to be moving much, much faster than the ones on the edges. But when we look at them, we actually see that the stars on the edges of the galaxy are moving almost as fast as the ones in the middle. But how is that possible? Because if you have a star moving on the outside of the galaxy really fast, it should go flying off. Inertia should cause it to go flying outside the galaxy, but it doesn't. So there's more stickiness there than what we visually see from the amount of mass that we see. How is that possible? Enter dark gravity or dark matter. Dark matter is what we call the idea that there's more stickiness there that we can visually see. But the reality is, once you've unified quantum and macro, now you also are explaining dark matter at all. There's just more stickiness naturally out there, basically, is a way to think of it. The way that Roy D. Herbert mentions and thinks of it is probably a good way to think of it, which is the more complexity there is, the more mass there is. So as things get more complex, more mass gets developed, and therefore when there's more mass, now you have more stickiness. Okay. Okay. Using standard equations for special relativity, it can be demonstrated that by differentially increasing the velocity of electrons by applying a differential current, their mass can be increased in a specific way. In turn, by increasing the mass of the electrons by general relativity, the number of gravitons emitted from these electrons can be modulated. That means we can control gravity. By multiplying this effect using an ultracentrifugal and centrifugal, boy, that's a tough word. Ultracentrifugal, centrifugalational goal. Ultracentrifugalational goal or device, the differential gravitational emissions can be manifestly amplified. This, in turn, in accordance with general relativity, will cause a change in the curvature of space-time. Wow. Wow, chat. Hello, MH370 videos. Hello, MH370 videos. By increasing the mass of the electrons, you can basically increase gravity and modulate gravity. Modulating gravity just means control gravity. And then by amplifying it, now you can create a situation where the gravity will be amplified. I'm just going to take this whole thing. Now, why is this important, chat? This is why it's important. Right here. What are they doing right here? They're amplifying it. They're amplifying the electrons and whatever this big word thing is here. They're increasing the mass of the electrons. They using superconductivity, and then by multiplying this effect, and they're multiplying it by having the orbs come and suck in, then the gravity emission can be amplified. And they're amplifying the gravity emission. This is why they're focusing in at the last second here, guys. This is what they're doing right here. They were within a week of one another. Old Cama Hat asked, how close were my interview with Danny and Julian? Yeah, they definitely set those interviews up. I was 100% set up during those interviews. The intent was to try to discredit me and discredit the case. I don't know if they were, like, who was telling them to do that or whatever, but it was a big setup for sure. 100%. 100%. But that's a side note. Now, Arwin, good question. Are they still reducing the mass to zero or nah? Not sure. I'm not sure. I think that it's a matter of perception, Arwen. So they're increasing the gravity. The effect of them increasing the gravity may still cause a bubble and therefore cause the relative mass of the object from our perspective on the outside looking at the plane become zero. Yeah. So I still think it's possible for there to be both. Yeah, Alex, this is pretty wild, right? Like, this is actually explaining the videos, I think, right? Like, actually explaining the videos. I'm sure these videos are real, guys. I'm 100%, man. And just to be clear, like, this is not just my opinion. Like, this is what scientists have been telling me on my Hard Truths podcasts. I've been trying to learn from them, both, from what you guys saw and behind the scenes, because I'm still friends with them, right? I still talk to Bob Grenier, like, all the time. Even though I don't see exactly, I think that my opinion is that Bob Grenier probably understands the mechanics better than almost anybody. But I think that his explanations he tries to take man outside the explanations entirely. And I think there's still, in my opinion, humble opinion, I think that there's something inside these objects that's causing this. I think there's no way somebody faked videos that explain wormholes, guys. Somebody, faked these videos knowing how wormholes are supposed to work? Like, who is this genius? They faked the videos. They knew about physics of the airplane and how the airplane is going to fly in that certain altitude, while in descent. They knew about sinusoidal patterns and how the breakdown of the fabric of space-time works and how to teleport a plane. Like, what are you talking about? There's no way. There's no way. Look at this. I think we're looking at a real gravity bubble here, right? We're looking at the real Alcubierre drive in action right here. That's it. It's even creating the ring like it's actually explained in this patent. Are debunkers going to come along and say, oh, well, the Bitcoin billionaire just decided that they were going to read this patent and be like, oh, I'm going to recreate the space-time effect? No way, dude. No way. Right? Like, this is the equivalent. This patent right here is the equivalent of us finding cloud pictures. This is the debunker equivalent of us finding the cloud pictures. Like, we're literally looking at a patent explaining the videos from a scientific perspective. I mean, look at this. Yeah, sorry, I got to look at it like one more time because this is wild, man. Like, and they change orientations right here to get ready, right there. They're changing orientations and getting ready. And now they're amplifying the energy here and amplifying the electrons, potentially increasing the mass of them and creating gravitons. And they have to be entangled to another orb. I think they have to be. Right? I mean, this is practically a Yahtzee moment, I think. Like, this is wild. I was reading this last night, and I started posting in the Discord. Holy crap, right? Holy crap. Okay. This effective warping of spacetime does not of necessity imply superluminal velocities, but does allow the creation of warp drive systems which do not depend on the creation of thrust by the ejection of material as used in current space technologies. I mean, it pretty much just says that, yeah, you're going to be able to warp an object with this. Doesn't necessarily imply superluminal velocities, but that's what we're saying. He's being a little coy at this last part, right? Like, holy crap. I mean, honestly, Arwen, I'm just going to be clear with everybody on my opinions. I don't think that this plane went to another dimension. I don't think it went 10 years in the future. I don't think it went to another planet. I think they just sent it over to the Maldives. I just think they sent it over to the Maldives. Here it is right here. This is our route. This is what I've always believed since early on in terms of once I figured out that this was, or once we, I guess, realized that this is like some type of superluminal event. The plane is, especially because the plane's going east. The plane is like actually going like opposite of this direction right here in the videos. We know because we can see the coordinates. So if it's going backwards, getting sucked backwards, it's going somewhere over here. And what's over here? The Maldives. You might even land the plane over here on one of these island bases and then lift it off, like deal with the fire or whatever, land it over here, and then you fly it back down to Diego Garcia. And that's the reason why one of these islanders here sees it at 6 in the morning or something like that. They teleport the plane over here. They take care of it. They even maybe unload some of the passengers. I don't know. And then they take the rest of the plane to Diego Garcia where it disappears. And here's the sighting right here on this dot. You can see this is the sighting in the Maldive people on this Kuda Huduvo island. 20 people on this tiny little island all see this plane. Big plane, made lots of noise, draws the arc in the sky. 6:15 a.m. They know because it was prayer time. One of the people even saw the red and white stripe of Malaysian Airlines, man. They saw the plane. You know, they saw it. No, I think the plane survived. I don't know about the people, but I think the plane survived. That's why I kind of like the idea of the remote autopilot too. Because even if the people didn't somehow survive, I think the remote autopilot could have landed it safely. But I like to think that people survived, but I don't know, man. I just really don't know. I can't tell you I have all the answers. I think it has to be entangled to another orb because you have to have a steering wheel. You got to have a way to drive the engine, right? You can't just, like, where's it going otherwise? Just anywhere? How do you control the direction of travel, right? The hard part is this, is if the plane was on fire from over here, I'm going to make this maximized for a second. The plane's on fire at 1721. Mike McKay sees it. It's going back to Penang, closest airport, and then it switches and goes up here towards where KT sees it. This is an hour and 20 minutes of a depressurized plane. The oxygen masks only last, at best, 30 minutes. So you've got 50 minutes of no oxygen masks. That's why they're flying low, right? Because they're trying to give people enough oxygen. But it's going to be cold on the plane. People are going to potentially be like not having enough oxygen to breathe. There might be toxic gas or toxic smoke spewing as well as halogen gas causing this glowing orange impression that we see. Like, it's not looking good for the passengers even before we get to the superluminal warp bubble, whatever is going on here, right? So I just want you all to know, everybody who's in this chat right now, that this technology is real. If I were to disappear or whatever, I'd expect you guys to pick up where I left off. Technology is real. I'm not being attacked by direct energy weapons. I'm not suicidal or anything like that. I'm not going to disappear. Now, here's a weird thought before we continue. Remember what Amy said. I'm gonna pull it up. Remember what Amy said, guys. Why is there two videos of this? Oh, yeah, because I replied to myself. Okay.
He said it has been suppressed every single fucking time. And he said, I don't think they're going to suppress it this time. He said, I think you're in the clear. He said they obviously know about you because I've had multiple, both protective and threatening interactions with various agency affiliations, whatever. He was like, if you haven't had a U.S. government agent come to you and say, stop, shut the fuck up, stop, shut the fuck up. If that hasn't happened, they're going to let you do it. They're waiting.
Do you get that, guys? If that hasn't happened to you, if they haven't come to you and said, stop, shut the hell up, shut the heck up. If that hasn't happened, then they're going to let you do it. This is why I think I'm being used. This is why I think I'm being used. I'm pretty sure at this point I'm being used. Now, I don't think it's a situation where I was chosen. I think it's a situation where they're just ready for the information to come out and they've been waiting for anybody to reveal it. Because otherwise they should have come to me and they should have told me, they should have more directly told me to stop. And nobody's done that. Which is what makes me think that it's a situation where they want somebody to release the information in a controlled setting, probably, like Arwen's saying. And yeah, I think they're using me to get the word out as a matter of opportunity. It could have been anybody else, right? Could have been. It doesn't have to be me. It could have been anyone else. And this is the reason why I am being as transparent as possible about this to everybody, right? Because if something were to happen to me, or if I were to stop, or if I were to even switch sides or anything, right, then I would want you guys to know all this information, right? This is all publicly available. No, they didn't tell her to stop either, and that was 4 years ago. And then people may say, well, if they didn't tell Amy to stop, why did nobody else push forward, right? Maybe they did. Maybe it's a matter of there isn't anybody else. Nobody's pushing forward. Remember my post from this morning, guys. Let's look at my post from this morning. I'm just a normal guy who has worked in healthcare all my life because I wanted to help people being taken advantage of. We've discovered that unification of quantum and macro has been independently solved multiple times and constantly suppressed. This may be true of the fate of MH370 as well. Everything we've discovered has been hidden in plain sight. Now, why did I say this? Because other people have proposed the fire theory too, we've found out. They just haven't put it all together. They just haven't forced their way forward. MH370 is not primarily about discovery. It's about revelation. It's about honoring the sacrifices of those who got us to this point. Science is a process of building on the knowledge of our forebears. Now, why is this important? Because what we're talking about here is this idea that it can be anybody, right? And we are potentially just being used in the same mechanism for disclosure to get this information out. Because who's talking about this? Nobody is. Corbell's not talking about this. Ross Coulhart's not talking about this. Stephen Greer kind of is, but he's not taking it to this level, right? He's talking about teleportation existing, but he's not out here like, he doesn't have videos to show people. He's not talking about they're explaining the science to people, right? Yeah, old camel hat. That's an interesting spot. They had the podcasters tell me. I think in a certain way that is a bit of a, could be a bit of a message. I'm not sure. And maybe, you know, if there is foul play with the Amy situation, then maybe she did get told, right? I mean, her message gets pretty dark, man. Her message gets pretty dark after that. I'm not going to post the rest of it, but you guys can watch it yourself if you want. Yeah, I'm doing what an analyst does, and that's what my job is, an analyst. And I'm putting it all together, right? We're not going to let this opportunity go to waste. It only takes one person to make a difference. Be the change you want to see in the world. That's my message to you guys. It only takes one person. I am just a random person that happened across this. I didn't even believe in half of this stuff a year ago, right? And now I'm at the forefront of it, disclosing the science, showing people the science, explaining how it matches with the videos. It really just takes one. So why is this video awesome? Why did I post the Attack on Titan video? Because in this Attack on Titan video, the scouts here are doomed. They're up against an opponent that is a literal Titan that can wipe them all out, and they have no hope. They have no plays whatsoever. Their only play, they have one play. Suicide charge. Suicide charge. In order for the hope to have their one best person get out there and expose and win and win it all for them. So let's watch what happens. I want you to imagine that the Beast Titan is the gatekeepers, right? The gatekeepers, the United States government, the one who controls all the media, that has all the power. And the people on the horses are us. They're the people that came before us, the scientists that have been suppressed before us, the scientists that had to retract their papers, the ones that have been discredited, defamed, all of that stuff. That's them. Gas going to do anything, guys? The overconfident elite. They think that little bugs like us can't make any difference, right? Little paper here and there, patent here, there, getting exposed, folks. So that's what we're trying to do to the government, folks. We're trying to expose them. No, we're not. I don't even care about getting copyright striked. Hey, Amanda, welcome. Yeah, it's super dramatic and over the top, and that's why I love it. That's why I love it, chat. That's why I love it. Okay. So now you guys all understand the video. You understand why I posted it. I knew it was going to be super corny when I posted it, and don't even care. Okay. Quintessential mass. Do we need to go through the rest of this? I think that might be good enough. Okay, taking this mass energy, it is possible to show that all matter and forces of nature and space-time can be constructed from this singular quintessential quantity. Excuse me. Moreover, using this quantity, the laws of physics can be derived from first principles. Thus, priori, all components of the physical universe, including space-time, can be constructed from this minimal mass component termed quintessence. Now, I wonder if Salvatore Pais would probably call this a superforce. Particle-wave duality. If the presence of quintessence accounts for the structure of matter and matter itself forms from the number of quintessences, then the frequency of matter and thus wave-particle duality directly arises from first principles. Specifically, that wavelength of matter derives from the vibration of quintessence from which it is constituted. This is the frequency, and in turn wavelength, of light and matter is directly equivalent to the number of quintessences contained within it. We find that the actual frequency of light can be directly derived from first principles from the effective mass of the photon and thus from the number of quintessences it contains. Okay, let's see what else we got down here. I think we already got to the good part. This is like the boring, super deep science part. Although I sent this, I put it in the chat for you guys. I'll post it one more time for you guys if you want to see it. Quintessence, you call it the huge force, the big dong force. Should we call it that? Big dong force. Be real scientific about it. The huge force, the Trumpian version, the huge force. I like it. This is thus the standard relativistic equation that Dirac was able to construct from the Schrödinger wave equation. This relativistic equation can be derived from the modified wave equation. This takes into account relative mass, which the quintessential wave equation contains. Okay. I feel like we need to look into a little bit of Dirac, right? I'm hearing Dirac a lot. How long does this go? Oh boy, yeah, we're not going through all this. Oh boy. Oh boy. That's a little too long. Let's see. Detailed description of the invention. Okay. I think we'll read the detailed description of the invention, and then we'll call it after that. How long have we been going? Almost 2 hours. Yeah, 365 tags on this is a lot. Yeah, Egon, good point. If the orbs form a circle in a two-dimensional plane and the plane travels perpendicular to the plane to the fourth orb, then the whole thing forms a cone, right? Yeah, possibly. Thanks, Ramos. Appreciate you, buddy. Does anyone have permission to post my content on Billy? Yeah, you can post my content anywhere you want, as long as it's not a location that I'm posting it, which is really just Twitter. So go nuts, man. Slam Dunk Mo, welcome. Yeah, sorry, I started live earlier tonight because I gotta stop early tonight so I can actually get some sleep. I've been struggling. That's why I didn't stream last night, because I was super tired. The direction of the orb's rotation dictates the direction of the teleportation. I think that's probably true, Egon. If they rotate in the opposite way, would it be telephoned in the opposite direction? Maybe. Not sure about the rotation of the orbs indicating it, but seems possible. Let's see if we can understand more by reading the description of the invention. The theoretical understanding of quantum gravity allows allows the design of time displacement systems from first principles. It is unlikely that gravitations of Kerr singularities can be controlled in a precise way using current technology. Nevertheless, an understanding of three-dimensional spacetime and matter does allow the design of elementary displacement systems, that is, systems whose displacement rely on direct warping spacetime as opposed to the ejection of material to provide thrust resulting in time dilational effects. So yeah, basically they're saying that we can, now that's interesting, time dilational effects. God, we keep saying all the right buzzwords, right? Where's the full Amy video? It's in one of the posts. It's in the replies in one of their, I think. I'm not sure where exactly, but it's somewhere. The background of these systems are already partially understood, and quintessence theory allows for further development. For this invention, the formulation of black holes in the laboratory represents a crucial step to understanding the mechanisms that underlay gravitational physics and, in turn, warping of spacetime. Right in my mind right there, I'm thinking LIGO. I'm thinking CERN, Large Hadron Collider. The essence of black holes permits the localized application of the axial torsion spin rotation coupling effect, resulting in a rotating frame with relativistic factor, which can be used in the creation of an Alcubierre bubble, space-time bubble under the Van den Broek modification of the Alcubierre geometry, resulting in the method for generation of pseudo 2+1 dimensional anti-de Sitter space using two Kerr-type positively charged rotating dilation singularities, where one singularity is maintained as an axis of rotation or reference singularity, and the other target singularity is subject to a differential equation electron flow, so as to simultaneously pass above the photosphere of said singularity in its direction of rotation and contrary to its direction of rotation, to release a directed flow of gravitons in a sinusoidal oscillation simulating a rotational effect of the target singularity around the axis of rotation provided by the reference singularity. That is literally saying there is two singularities, one on either side. That's what it's saying. When it talks about the directed flow of gravitons in a sinusoidal oscillation, we've got a... We need this. It's basically saying that, yes, it's going to basically shoot a flow of electrons, creating a gravity wave. That's what it's talking about, creating a freaking gravity wave right there. From one orb to the other, from the three, oh, wait, you can't see my face. That's what it's talking about. It's creating from, like, one to the others. That's what it's talking about right there. In this instance, the spacetime lattice would be repelled by the gravitons in such a way as to disperse spacetime quintessence in a circular fashion around each of the singularities, producing multiple event horizons around the simulated axis of rotation. Multiple event horizons? What? Need this as well. Why is that big, chat? We might be seeing more than one event horizon here. 2 event horizons, chat. I'm using the debunk video. How many event horizons are we seeing? We're seeing at least 2, right? There's one. Here's a second event horizon. Yeah. Wow, it's a ring. And we're seeing the 2 event horizons, I think. Huh. Wow. Oh, wow, chat. I think we're on to something here. This is pretty wild. The release of gravitons from the target singularity is controlled differentially, governing the electron flow across the photosphere. What's a photosphere? Butters Kennedy. Josh, you're Butters Kennedy? The one with the dogs? Butters Kennedy just posts sweet dog pictures all day. He's got a bunch of like dash hounds or something. Ah, the photosphere is the visible surface of the star. It is the deepest layer of the star that is transparent to photons of certain wavelength. Huh. So it'll be like the outer layer. Is the photosphere going to be... Is this going to be a photosphere? The outer ring? Is this the photosphere? Is that why there's a is that why there's a flash? Is the photosphere? Yeah, Trajan, I get your point, but we also can't see this, so I don't know. Yeah, it's a little weird. This should be the only event horizon, but maybe this is the photosphere? I don't know. It's possible I'm not fully understanding every aspect here of this. Very, very possible. In fact, very likely. But we'll get there. We'll get there. I mean, we're doing all this with just 2 open source videos that are not even declassified as far as we know. So imagine if we had access to like 100 of these videos. Okay, what was I going to say? Blah, blah, blah. In turn, differential direction of flow across the photosphere of gravitons would determine the direction of motion through the space-time lattice and the resulting time displacement from one space-like boundary to the other. In accordance with this dude's theorem, when implementing this approach, it is important to remember that the black hole is not excited by the smashing of the clump as it hits the horizon. The hole is rather excited. The hole is excited, chat. When the metric perturbation associated with the clump is felt by the background metric. The excitation event therefore constitutes a smooth process whereby infall of a clump from .rmb and through R plus serves as the source in Tarkovsky equation for small perturbations to the Kerr geometry. This is an important distinction, great, because I don't understand it, with a great deal of relevance to the practical engineering of the displacement unit, since we need to gauge the driving of QNR modes in terms of an E active coupling from clump infall. Okay, I understood none of that. What I'm thinking here is it has to do with like how to specifically set up the mouth of the wormhole and how to determine how you're going to entangle it to the others. I don't think we're seeing both ends at the same time, but that's a very interesting thought, Where 3. That's an interesting thought. Okay, so WP Gen Light EN for Truth 2 says the photosphere is the whitish part between the outside and the inside where the black starts. Yeah, that's interesting. That's the photosphere? Huh. So he'd be saying, he or she is saying that the photosphere is this part right here. The photosphere would be this part in the inside. This part would be this photosphere. Seems possible. Application of the method described in the previous section results in translation outside of the cosmological horizon, where FR less than 0. The topology of the resulting geodesic for a large constant R is mathematically equivalent to the Euclidean cylinder of the condition R dot sine, I think that's a sine wave, where T is the coordinate along the cylinder. I plus or minus are located outside the future past cosmological horizons where R is a time-like and T is space-like. In the case of a rotating Kerr black hole, there are 2 circular photon orbits that can exist in an equatorial plane and be exploited to create a Tipler sinusoid. One is a propagating orb moving in the same direction as the black hole's rotation, while the other is a retrograde orbit moving against the black hole's rotation. Their radii are respectively given by that. Where A is angular momentum, okay. The fact that the prograde photon, or in the case, or case Cooper pair, with Bose characteristics, so they're talking about Cooper pairs, which is in superconductivity, that's when Cooper pairs get formed. Bose characteristics, they're talking about Bose-Einstein. So that can all be attributed to the lens throwing effect, the dragging of inertial frames due to the black hole's rotation, which we can control and influence by electromagnetic induced load coupling within the open magnetic field lines threading the black hole horizon. I mean, that sounds exactly like the orbs converging. Right? This dragging would cause charged Cooper pairs to revolve around the black hole relative to a static observer at infinity. Thus, to such an observer, a proper grade Cooper pair would have to orbit at a smaller radius to compensate for the inner angular momentum acquired, while a retrograde one would have to orbit at a larger radius to compensate for a lost momentum. Indeed, in the limit of zero rotation, these two orbits coincide at RD3M, giving the single circular orbit of a Schwarzschild black hole. Now recall that orbits around the Schwarzschild black hole are necessarily confined to a plane passing through its center because of the spherical symmetry of the space-time. However, an curved space black hole only has axial symmetry. So Schwarzschild black hole is... Let's look up a Schwarzschild black hole. What do you guys think? Have I ever tried measuring the frequency of the orb's oscillation? Do you think they have to hit a certain frequency to trigger the event? Some sort of resonance? Probably. Yeah, probably. Probably some sort of resonance. Everything seems to have to do with resonance, right? So most likely. Yeah, this is magnetohydrodynamics, and superconductivity definitely comes into play. Yeah, I don't know who you are, but you are nailing it. Magnetohydrodynamics is MHD. We probably need to add MHD to our list of science stuff if it's not already on there. I think my dog finally is done eating that bone, so we're not going to have the stuff in the background. We will understand this one day. Or we'll get killed, one or the other. Hopefully we get to understand it and the government won't disappear us. So the main difference is the rotation. A Schwarzschild black hole is a non-rotating, uncharged black hole. Kerr black hole is rotating. I don't think our black hole is rotating. The rotation of a Kerr black hole induces some unique properties. For instance, it has an hygrosphere. I don't know what that means. A region outside the event hole where space-time is dragged along in the direction of the rotation. It's the rotation is the main difference. Should I see if Lulu wants to come up? Sympathetic resonance? Man, are these real terms? It's hard for me to tell the difference between science fiction and science fact at this point. Okay. One could, for example, contemplate the existence of spherical boson orbits, orbits with constant coordinate radii that are not necessarily confined to the equatorial plane around the Kerr black hole. It may seem a little surprising that spherical orbits could even exist, but there's an interesting reason why they're possible. Note that an object in a spherical orbit would, in addition to moving around the black hole in an azimuthal direction, be undergoing some periodic motion in the latitudinal direction. This is only possible if there is a conserved quantity associated with the motion of direction, just as angular momentum is necessarily conserved by its rotational motion in an azimuthal direction. The azimuth, right, is like the circle around the object. Now, because the Kerr spacetime only has axial symmetry, geodesics in it should only have two constants of motion, namely energy and angular momentum. However, Carter discovered the remarkable fact that geodesics in the Kerr spacetime possess a third constant of motion. It turns out that Carter's new constant governs the motion of geodesics in the latitudinal direction, although it is not related to any obvious spacetime symmetry. Thus, spherical time-like orbits, which assume Egan-like properties around the Kerr black hole, are possible, and when coupled with charged bosons, may be exploited to manipulate the relative event horizons of the target singularity. They're talking about the orbs spinning around the plane here. The location and the temperature of the modified event horizon depends on the time, charge, angle of incidence of the Cooper pairs. The fermionic spectrum of Dirac particles displays a spin rotation coupling effect due to the interaction between the particles with spin 1 equals 2. Spin minus 1 equals 2? And the black holes with rotation. Something is important about the spin. I think we may need to look into the spin. Let's ask Grok. What the heck? Science faction. MHD is very applicable because it's vortex dynamics. Yeah, I don't know if I'm going to be able to fly on any more planes, folks. Time invariance X? I have not seen that, no. Okay, the spin of a particle refers to a fundamental property of subatomic particles that is analogous to classical concept of angular momentum. The spin of a subatomic particle is an intrinsic property that does not involve actual spinning. In quantum mechanics, the spin of a particle is quantized, meaning it can only take certain discrete values. The most common values are of half-integer values, such as half, 3, 2, etc. Integer values such as 0, 1, and 2, etc. These values are measured in the units of reduced Planck constant. This makes no sense to me. One key difference between the spins of the particles lies in their behavior under rotations. For example, particles with integer spins, bosons, follow Bose-Einstein statistics and do not obey the exclusion principle, which states that no two identical fermions can occupy the same quantum state simultaneously. On the other hand, particles with half-integer spin, fermions, obey them. Okay, so particles that have 0, 1, and 2 are bosons. Particles that have half or 3 halves are fermions. Okay, that actually explains a lot. In summary, the difference between the spins of particles lies in their quantized values and the way they behave under rotations. Hey, thanks everybody. Thanks everybody who's in the chat now. I appreciate you. Yeah, I hear Diego Garcia is pretty nice this time of year. So a particle spin 2 has an angular momentum of 2 units of Planck constant. Ooh, 2. This type of particle is often associated with the graviton. In the context of quantum mechanics, particles have different values of spin, which is an intrinsic property. For example, a photon has a spin of 1, an electron has a spin of 0.5, and a graviton is thought to have a spin of 2. Wow. Yeah, this is fire today, chat. We are learning some straight up science right now. I'm going to skip. I see there's an ad. I'm going to skip this ad. Guys, we are learning some straight up science. We've had some fire streams. We had some drama in the beginning. We've got some straight up hardcore science right now. Spin 2 equals graviton. Particles with inner spin bosons obey Bose-Einstein statistics and can occupy the same quantum state. I didn't realize that spin equates to Bose-Einstein statistics. So it's really that simple. Integers are bosons and half integers are fermions. That's that simple. Does anyone in the chat need more explanation on the bosons versus fermions? A harmonic of the resonant frequency to absorb energy, more like a harmonic of the resonant spin in relation to the mass of the plane and the direction of the spin itself. In summary, a particle with a spin equals 2 is a hypothetical elementary particle often associated with the graviton that has an intrinsic angular momentum of 2 units of the Planck constant. Very interesting stuff. Okay, where was that? Where were we at? Man, reading a lot of science gets me super tired, though. Okay, so the fermionic spectrum of Dirac particles displays a spin-rotation coupling effect due to the interaction between particles with spin 1 equals 2. So these are going to be your gravitons, your bosons. The effects arise from the interaction between the spin of Dirac particles and the rotation of the evaporating black holes. The feature of this spin rotation coupling effect is its dependence upon different helicity states of coupled particles with spin half and its irrelevance to the mass of particles. Okay. I'm going to just hang tight, chat, for just like 2 minutes. I'm going to quickly make myself another martini. Won't take long. Damn, chat, we got the fire. The fire is going off right now. Fire's treated. Careful, chat, the smoke detector might go off. Guys, post in the chat anything else I need to know. Guys, I feel like we're a long distance runner here, and we're catching up to the sprinters here. EF framework. Okay. Can I copy paste this? Ooh, that's beautiful. This is probably going to be very similar to dilation theory. So again, check out my my post from this morning, because the reality is this has already been discovered multiple times. The person who comes out and says, "Oh, they discovered, quantum, the ER equals EPR equivalent," like, it's already been discovered. It's already been solved. In fact, you could even argue that the plane mystery has already been solved. but then nobody just was able to follow through with it, right? That's the crazy part. That's why we're not even really disclosing anything at this point. We're just exposing it, revealing it, right? Lockheed Martini. We never forget who we're drinking for. Exactly. Exactly, chat. This account's only 7 days old. Weird. Very weird. 7-day-old account. Trajan Ghost, you've kind of turned in from... Trajan, you've made quite the change, man. You started off as a debunker, and now look at you. Now you're one of the Orb fam. You know? This is why I think there's hope, guys. Trajan shows us there's hope for everybody. People can start off as a debonk, and then they can turn into full-on Orb fam. Right? Yeah, I'll check these out later. Whew. Okay. Good to have you here, Trajan. Good to have you here, man. Gives me hope that people can be turned. Oh, God, that's just straight vodka. Ooh, okay. Yeah, you kind of need a little bit of alcohol in order to get through some of this stuff. It ain't easy, folks. This ain't easy reads. Was that my ice machine? What was that? In order to create a sinusoidal capable of inducing a topology change from one spacetime boundary to the other in accordance with this theorem, the electrical charge... Oh, look, there's a typo here. The electrical charge in the upper half of the photosphere would need to be maximized. The electrons will have a vector in the left to right direction as the singularity spins clockwise. Which way are the orbs spinning? I don't know there's a right or wrong answer related to what we're showing here, but which way are they spinning? I think they're spinning counterclockwise, right? Actually, they're spinning... It's hard to tell in 3 dimensions which way they're spinning, right? They're going counterclockwise, though, right? Yeah. Definitely counterclockwise. And now, do they switch and go clockwise right there? Now they're going clockwise, right? Now they're counterclockwise again. Now they're clockwise again. I can't tell if it's going clockwise or counterclockwise. And now here the problem is they're taking each other's place and the frame rate's too low, so we can't tell which way they're spinning. It looks like counterclockwise to me. God, that's hard to tell. Can you guys tell? Counterclockwise is important. I feel like we got somebody like in the know in the chat right now, and they're just, guys, pay attention to this account. Pay attention to this account. I'm good at picking this kind of stuff out. Yeah, they're definitely going counterclockwise. Wow. So they're spinning counterclockwise. Maybe the electrons are going the opposite direction or something like that. If a maximized current is applied to the singularity in the same direction, this will travel at an increased velocity due to the electrons relative to the center of gravity of the singularity, due to the flow of the current. Don't the electrons go in the opposite direction of the current? Whereas, am I wrong on that? This is why we had to learn electrical engineering, chat. According to special relativity and the space-time lattice model, this will result in an increase in the relativistic mass of the electrons and, in by turn, general relativity, an increase in the release of gravitons. And this is the most in-depth unification theory we've ever read. There was a toroid of as cloud when it disappeared. Was that English? Yeah, they're definitely going counterclockwise because of the right-hand rule. So it goes backwards? Maybe, Egon. Good thoughts. Chat, you guys are on fire tonight. The lower half of the electrons. Yeah, actually, now that you say that, right? It's just a matter of perspective from which side you're looking at it, right? So if they're going counterclockwise, then the right-hand rule is going to point them backwards. Egon, I think you nailed it, right? The right-hand rule is going to point them backwards. So the direction of travel is going to be, of the electrons, is going to be backwards from the plane using the right-hand rule. Yeah, it is going to get sucked backwards, isn't it? Guys, you're going to get our man killed over here. WP Gen Light. This guy's going to end up getting disappeared. I'm afraid to even click on his account. Am I going to find out this account's 1 day old? No. Oh, whoa. You were posting videos about Bob Grenier? An APEC? Who are you? Who is this? Who is this? Oh, chat, we might be... So we're gonna subscribe to this channel, folks. Yeah, anybody who's into electrical engineering, they know some stuff, folks. When did I notice 4 orbs? I can't take the credit for the 4 orbs. That was Bob Rossi who proposed that during one of our hard truths. So, and ever since then, we've kind of ran with it. 4 orbs makes sense. Because I had already proposed, like, here's the crazy part, chat. And this is why people are hating on me, though, too, is that I have just logically deduced a lot of what is scientifically accurate. The superconductivity, even when I was calling it wormholes, turns out it really is actually wormholes. And remember when I backed away from the wormhole stuff, and now we went back to it? Also, as well, I had hypothesized that quantum entanglement was required early on, but I didn't know how to explain it, and then I moved away from that, and now we're back on quantum entanglement again. Yeah, I don't know. You can say I'm getting lucky or whatever, but I'm not sure. But it turns out that the stuff I've been describing since the very early on, superconductivity, quantum entanglement, all the stuff is, even double slit experiment. I don't have the in-depth scientific knowledge of it, but I have the ability to, like, just look at it and understand it. Like, intuitively is the only way to put it. Mechanically, I'm not good. Oh, you're Gerald. You were on live? Must have been on one of the alien scientist ones. Okay. I knew you were one of those guys. I knew it. Gerald, nice to see you, sir. Welcome. Welcome. Yeah, wow. But that's what's weird. So before I go on, like, yeah, this is why I'm getting attacked so hard. It makes a lot of sense, right? The people that know it's real know that I was on it, that I was, like, intuitively understanding it. And that's scary, right? Because that's somebody who doesn't even know, like, I don't even know the in-depth science of it, but I'm looking at it and I'm going, wait a minute, this is legit. This is how it works, right? And so they had to immediately try to discredit me and attack me right away, right? Because they knew that I would figure it out. Because it's just a matter of time. And that's why I think that my play, which is try to understand the science, is the right way to do it. And thank you, Gerald. You're not the only one to tell me that. And that's part of the reason why I keep going, because I have a lot of people telling me, like, you are figuring it out. And they're not, like, dumb people. These are, like, very smart people who are scientists and engineers, and mostly electrical engineers, right? So, yeah, I appreciate that. Pretty crazy. Pretty awesome. Okay. But just for the record, I don't think I'm anybody special, and I'm never going to change. I still even remember when Kim.com asked me. So way back in the day, in my opinion, of Kim.com is I'm that whole situation was weird. It feels a little bit like it was consensus cracking. Like Kim.com wanted to get close to me so that he could then flip it around and go, oh, this has been debunked, right? And that way they would get everybody to stop looking at it. They may even thought it might have worked on me as well, and it almost did. I just had such a bad feeling about it after it happened. But even though I still think he's a good guy, Kim.com, even though I think even if he was an agent of the government, which it would have been very easy for him to be. I mean, the government basically controls Kim.com. I'm not going to lie to you guys. They basically control him. They have him by the balls. When you have somebody's money, you have them by the balls, right? And even said that, like, this is what you guys have to realize. The world is not black and white. They might not even have told Kim.com what the truth is or not, right? But they might have told him, like, hey, you need to do this for us, right? They might have told him something like that. And he's a smart guy. So he probably goes, why are they going to have me go talk to this nobody Ashton Forbes guy, right? Even help build me up a little bit. Because the whole plan then is to chop me down afterwards, right? And make this whole thing go away. So I still think, despite all that, Kim.com is probably still a good guy. My interaction with him, he's a good guy. One of the things he told me was never to let any of this stuff go to your head. Don't let it change you. And I never would. There's no way I would ever let it change me. Although I agree with Arwen, he's definitely a psyop-y. Like, he's the definition of psyop. Kim.com is the definition of psyop. Still think he's a great guy, but that's the reality. You could argue that I'm psyop, right? You could very easily argue that I'm a psyop. I mean, I'm sitting here talking about teleporting planes, right? Even if it's true, that could be a psyop, right? It's a psyop in the sense that, like, they're trying to get the information out. That's why it's all black. It's not black and white. It's just shades of gray, right? Like, what's the right play? Because here's the thing, James. What's the right play? What's the right play? What's the wrong play? Is the right thing, is the good thing to do to reveal this technology to the world? Or is the bad thing to do to reveal this technology to the world? What if this technology destroys the planet? Then this is the wrong thing to do, right? That's why we can't think of things in terms of black and white. You have to think of it in terms of shades of gray. So Kim.com could be a great guy, but he could also be a psyop agent of the government. He might be getting used without knowing it. Look at it like this as well. The reason why we don't attack people like Jeremy Corbell, even Ross Coulthart, who I'm not a big fan of, the reason why I don't attack these people is because they're also being used. Sometimes they might be getting told the truth. Sometimes they might be getting told fictions. They probably have to wonder themselves. That's part of the reason why they probably, even if they're good people themselves, probably part of the reason why they don't want to talk to me is because they don't know if I'm being used. They don't know if I'm being passed information that's to send them information that's incorrect. It's tough. This is exactly what Tim Burchett said. Exactly, Amanda. Great call out, Amanda. Like Tim Burchett says, they may not even know it's disinfo. He could be blackmailed or manipulated somehow. You never know. Exactly. So, Amanda, you get it. And now this is the reason why I am transparent about everything that I do. The only way to break that down, like, how do you know whether or not you're being played with? The answer is you can't know. So what do you do? What do you do when you can't know? You put it all out there. You show everybody, right? You show everybody what you're seeing, how your brain's working, so that people can see that you are being as honest as you can be. That way, no matter how it plays out, you're covered. That way, if you get scammed by a RAR file, you realize that you were not involved in it. You had no idea. You were just an unsuspecting participant, right? And if you don't get scammed, if you find a paper on the internet like this one that literally explains the videos, then people realize, like, I didn't set this paper up, that, you know, I'm learning along with it. I'm reading this for the first time. I only read like the first couple paragraphs last night, right? Yeah, and so Kim.com was very quick to turn his back on the investigation. I would say that that is your very typical consensus cracking disinformation mechanism, right? You know what consensus cracking is, guys? We may stop here for tonight. We've been going almost 2 hours already. under the guise of a fake account, a post is made which looks legitimate and towards the truth is made, but the critical point is this very weak premise with substantial. Is this, maybe this isn't right. Oh, LinkedIn? Wait, no LinkedIn. That might reveal my personal information. Once this is done, then under alternative fake accounts, a very strong position in your favor is slowly introduced over the life of the posting. It is imperative that both sides are initially presented so the uninformed reader cannot determine which side is the truth. As postings and replies are made stronger, evidence or disinformation in your favor is slowly seeded in. Thus, the uninformed reader will most likely develop the same position as you, and if their position is against you, their opposition to your posting will most likely be dropped. So what do? You build it up, you pretend like you're on their side, and then you bust, boom. Now it's all fake. Now what does that do? It makes everybody think it's fake. That's why you have people come to me and they go, oh, Kim.com said that was fake though, right? Because it gives a huge amount of people the impression that it's all fake. And it would have been better if I had jumped on board with it as well. That's why it was weird that Kim.com the very next morning, I had just woken up, and the Jonas thing had been up there all night, and he's already calling me up, telling me that I should pressuring me to come out against the videos, right? Pressuring me right away to come out against the videos. The $150,000 was never paid out. Nobody even met the criteria of it. And then Jonas didn't take the $10,000 even when all he had to do was sign an affidavit. How is somebody not going to take $10,000 from Kim.com? Kim.com was sitting there. I have the video. Kim.com was sitting there saying, just give me your e-wallet and I'll send you $10,000 in Bitcoin right now. He was saying that to Jonas while I'm on the call with him. I'll send you $10,000 in Bitcoin right now. You can see my reaction on the video if I were to play it. And I'm sitting there just going, give me $10,000. I mean, I'm not going to turn against the investigation for $10,000, but shit, if I just took some random pictures, I definitely would have taken $10,000 for that. It's crazy. And now the same guy is threatening to sue us? I guess he must really have a lot of money. Doesn't need 10 grand. I got news flash for him. Lawyers are expensive, man. Hey, Neil, I appreciate you, bud. Yeah, attaching your name to an investigation you're not part of at all is real weird. Real weird, chat. That's real weird. $20K? No, for me, okay, so if anyone's listening, the government wants to buy me out, $10 million. $10 million, and I will say that the VFX matches perfectly. I'll say it's a pixel perfect match. That's how much it probably would take me to sell me out. Honestly, probably wouldn't even take that much as long as they were to give me something that says they'll let me know about the technology. Reality is, you guys, again, the world's shades of gray, and I'm not even sure it's the right thing to reveal this. I just know that at this point, there's no way I'm stepping out unless I get to know what's real and what's possible and what's not. That's the reality. That's the reality. You either got to give me 10 mil. Oh yeah, I'll definitely hook you guys up with some money. If they give me 10 mil, you guys, I'll probably give you guys like $1 million. I'll just spread it around. Yeah, you got to be real. I mean, you got to be real. Everybody can be bought out. Everybody can be bought out. Oh, I mean, you guys will know. There's no way around that, right? Like, you guys will know. If I come out and all of a sudden I'm like, "Yo, Chad, it's a. Hold on, guys. Let me look at the VFX again. Oh, you know what? Corridor crew is right. This is a perfect match, guys. Yeah, it turns out I was wrong. This is clearly a perfect match. I don't know. Anyone who thinks this isn't a perfect match is crazy. If you guys know that, you'll know right away that I sold out. You'll know right away. 100%. No doubt. But at this point, there's only 2 ways. Let's say 3 ways. Okay? There's only 3 ways I get out of this, okay? One, they pay me 10 million bucks. Okay? And then all of a sudden you'll know because my account will either go dark or I'll be out here going, "Oh, guys, the corridor crew was right. They were too smart. They figured it out." Two, second way, they turn me. So if they let me be on the inside and know how all this stuff works and I become like an agent or something, whatever you want to call me, spy, intel operative, or honestly, I just don't give a crap. Just show me the goddamn orbs. Okay? Two is they show me the orbs. They show me the orbs. I get a new job and whatever that is. I mean, maybe Russia and China disappear me at that point. I don't know. I don't care. That's option two. Option three is they kill me. That's the only other way. Those are the only three options. 10 million bucks, show me the orbs, or they kill me. Those are the only three ways this ends. Yeah, if I come out and say, guys, Reddit is the most legitimate platform ever. Everybody should be on Reddit. Those are the smartest people in the world are on Reddit. Then you guys, that's actually the safe word, guys. If I come out and say that. If I say that that Reddit's the best platform, you guys will know that something's wrong, guys. That's a safe word. Wait, this side up, is that actually true? Did Corridor Crew actually debunk No Way Home set leaks? Jesus, if that's true, wow. Honestly, what would I prefer? I would prefer they show me the orbs. That's my first preference. Second preference is I'll take $10 million and just go back to sleep, living in the Matrix with my $10 million. And third option is preferably not to be killed. Preferably not to be killed. Yeah, if I I wouldn't even buy a new car, guys. I'm not that kind of person. I'm not even the kind of person that, like, I'm like Walter White. I'm going to be driving my janky, like, Toyota or whatever, right, with my $10 million. I'm not the kind of person who likes to be flashy. I'm the kind of person that like practical things. But if I have all the bling around my neck, you know, diamond encrusted 4 orbs pendant. Guys, diamond encrusted 4 orbs pendant. If I have the diamond encrusted 4 orbs pendant, then you'll know. You'll know. Then you'll know I sold out. Yeah, $10 million is cheap, man. They should give me $10 million. That's nothing, man. Come on. The lawsuits alone would be in the billions and billions of dollars. I'm mostly joking, guys. I'm mostly joking. But it's fun. The reality, though, is everybody has a price. Everybody has a price. Everybody will talk under the right amount of pressure. That's just the reality. Oh, I should have gone. Oh, yeah. Yeah, if I got the new, the diamond encrusted 4 orbs headphones. That'd be funny. That's all you guys will know. Okay, is there anything else we need to look at in here? Okay, drift velocity. Okay, drift velocity, I don't know what that means. Cooper per production. As the Cooper bears cross the photosphere, accretion of the Bose particles results. Okay, non-hole accretion across the target singularity is then motivated by rotationally induced ultra-relativistic disk dynamics in the region of the flow bounded from below by the marginally bound geodisk radius RMB. As the particles impelled have a high spin values, a largely coherent magnetic field in this region has the dynamical implication of compact mass segregation at the displacement nodes of the non-axiosymmetric MRI modes. This results in a prolific gravitational wave emission coincident with the gamma ray stage. Maybe those are gamma rays. The gravitational wave emissions are then manipulated to influence the reference singularity to produce a variable gravitational sinusoidal, which is then used to mathematically approximate gravimetric distortion, including topology. It's getting late. Topology change from one space-like boundary to the other in accordance with the theorem. So what they're talking about there is the spin, and then the convergence is inducing the singularity, and it's creating the path. So what they're doing is the reference singularity is the one that's being teleported to. So again, if my thing here this is the plane, and we're creating the entanglement here. The plane, this is the target singularity. Target singularity, reference singularity. So these are two sides of the wormhole, right? So they are manipulating the influence to produce a variable gravitational sinusoidal to mathematically approximate the gravitational distortion, basically to determine how to make it go from this point to this point. I wonder if there's a limit to how far it can go, or if it can just literally go anywhere. Pretty wild. Yeah, if Lulu comes and she's got a diamond encrusted pendant, you know we're good. Where is she? Oh, there you are. Come on, pups. Come here. Interesting. Sounds like the creation of a gyroscopic spherical field line perturbation of space, changing the time reference of the target. Yeah, since space and time are the same. God, that's just such a mind-bending thing. It's like if you're changing time, you're changing space. And when you're changing time, that's like what... Wow, is this the unification of all of them? That's what Roy D. Herbert would mention, right? So Roy D. Herbert, he talks about time dilation, a matter of speeding up the time. When you speed up the time, now you're creating a situation where the object can go the speed of light. And I think it's really just the difference between the physics approach, which is a theoretical approach, versus the engineering approach, which is like, how do you actually get it done? Yeah, Egon, good question. I've always wondered, how do the three orbs entangling with the fourth orb? Is the fourth orb doing something cool too? Good question. That's a really good question. I'm not sure. Maybe it is. Maybe it's not. I don't know. Wait. Am I not seeing all the messages? No, I think we still are. Okay. So that's a pretty good question. If you control space, can you stop time? Yes. That's called superposition, Alex. So you can hold an object in superposition, then you can stop time. If you move close to a black hole, your time is also going to stop, because the more mass, the slower your time flows. So a black hole has a huge amounts of mass, so that's going to cause, it's basically a singularity of mass, so that's why your time is going to become zero. Does Lulu like snow? Now we're asking the big questions. Yes, Lulu does like snow. She hasn't experienced it too much. I used to live in California, but she does like the snow. She's definitely, the cold does not bother her at all, like at all. Yeah, I feel like I got some questions to ask Dave Rossi and maybe Bob Greenier as well. Pretty wild, guys. Hey, Monica. Yeah, we've had a pretty bomb stream tonight. 2.5 hours. It's been going hard. And we've only been ramping up more and more people. So I think, guys, first of all, make sure you like the stream. I don't know why. It probably does stuff. I just feel like it's a cool thing to do. Second of all, anything cool that you guys learned tonight, I want you to post in the replies on the stream post on Twitter. So on Twitter, I posted the stream. If you guys discovered anything cool tonight, if you want to clip anything tonight, and post it in the replies on my stream post for the one I made on Twitter, guys. I'm going to post tomorrow the write-up of this patent, because wow, what a patent. What a patent. Pretty awesome. And then let's show a couple memes tonight. Yeah, time is not what people think it is. I think that's pretty accurate. Oh, liking the stream helps the algo, guys. Algos are good. Okay. I think it's time for a few memes. We haven't shown any memes in a while. Um, let's see what we got. Waiting for the recreated videos. Never going to happen. Or waiting for the guy to come out and accept the bounty, right? Little Bernie. I'm once again acting for you to read the evidence. Literally no one reads the evidence. None of the debunkers read the evidence. Hey, Nash, I appreciate you, buddy. I appreciate the people that have been following. People have been caught on. Yeah, Trajan, thanks, man. Have a good night, buddy. All the people that have been watching and catching on, I hope you get caught up to the investigation. We are currently trying to understand the science the best that we can, and we are making big strides, guys. Already, just in the last couple months, I feel like we've learned like 2 years of electrical engineering, like college level, in just a couple months. And the reason for that is we're looking at the answers to the test. We're looking at how you manipulate gravity in 2 videos. So you can understand it a lot easier. And we've got a lot of people helping us out. Let's see. Oh, this is a good one. Just sympathizing with the families who remain silent. What else we got? We got a challenger to the corridor crew guy. Like, look at these glasses, dude. These glasses actually rival the corridor crew guy. Should I get some glasses like this? Guys, should I get some glasses like this so that I can rival the corridor crew guy's Geordie LaForge glasses? Like, this is next level right here. Hard for me to believe that these are real. Sorry you got hacked, WPG. But yeah, you can post on the replies on Twitter, on YouTube, but I don't really read all YouTube replies. Depleted, you probably recognize a lot of these memes because a lot of them are yours. Boeing board of directors when one of their planes catches on fire. Good question, Casey, on the plane exits. I'll pull that back up again before we log off. Trajan, you might appreciate this one if you're still here. James, somebody jumped in named James. There's like 10 Jameses in our chats, by the way. Pardon me, I cannot help but notice you banned Trajan's Ghost for being a troll, and that concerns me. Trajan's Ghost was not banned. Remember when they thought I banned Trajan's Ghost and someone was like trying to make me feel bad about it? I was like, wait, but I didn't ban him, though. Trajan's Ghost is now an orb follower. Here's a little another corridor crew waiting, still waiting after weeks for corridor crew to release the videos they said they can create in 5 hours. Let's see what else we got. I can't get over these glasses. Okay, a couple more. Oh, this is one that I did. The Lou crew. Joseph Marinello, also known as King Milkfart, one of the worst trolls. If you guys don't know what this is from the movie, This Is the End. And this is Channing Tatum hugging Danny McBride. It's pretty funny. Okay, last one here. 200 plus souls. Oh, horror. World-changing technology? Just kidding. For the families, obviously, they take precedent, but at the same time, world-changing technology is pretty wild, right? Pretty wild. Pretty good memes. Pretty good memes tonight. We definitely got to make sure we're doing those memes. Okay. Oh yeah, well, maybe one more. Last one. Ashton, literally look at the data and the evidence. Mike Exner, what data and the evidence? Stop lying. fat troll face. Ashton showing Mike Exner, look at it. Look at the evidence, Mike Exner. The sad part is, like, we're going to probably be hating on Mike Exner again, guys. Because this one right over here, I'm going to close the methods down one here. Let's copy this. I'm going to make sure I have this saved somewhere safely. Okay. This Reddit post somebody found. Look at this. 8 years ago. 2016. Mike Exner constantly berated me that the BFO values could not be in error because the temperature-sensitive AFC oscillator was in a hermetically sealed and heat tin can. If the AFC was not heated, the BFO values would wander off. But hey, wait a minute. The ATSB published a Bayesian analysis report by the DTSG dated December 3rd, 2015, which said from at least 1803 to 1825, there was no power. Well, the AFC heat is part of the power. This is what we're talking about. So Mike Exner is telling people that the temperature was in a hermetically sealed and heated tin can, but the official report says there was no power, so the heat was not on. These people are just... Mike Exner is full of crap. The dude's full of crap. He can't answer any logical questions. He was being berated 8 years ago by people because of their nonsensical arguments for these like BFO and BTO values, right? And so then somebody here breaks it all down. Now, I'm going to talk about this probably tomorrow. It's getting too late tonight. But we got more to come, folks. We are not remotely done. We are going to destroy the Inmarsat data. We're going to destroy it. It's not credible at all. And they literally just like made up some calculations. They threw out data they didn't like, that didn't make any sense. And they just invented, they basically tried to fit the data into their cognitive bias the best they could. It's embarrassing. So yeah, we're going to expose that. And then I don't know what we'll do tomorrow, but thank you guys for hanging out tonight, chat. This was a fun stream. And any updates, like Trajan, go ahead and post the time and variance thing on the replies on the Twitter post, and I'll try to take a look at it. I'll try to watch those tonight. Thanks, guys. Have a great night. It was fun chatting with you, and we'll see what's up tomorrow. Tomorrow, yeah, probably be an early live again tomorrow. Probably, but no guarantee. I'll probably post it on Twitter, but not sure. Probably like 7 o'clock go live tomorrow. We'll see. Have a good night, everybody. It was fun talking to you. Peace.